Hello children, welcome to the video lectures of Social Science Standard 9. This is the fifth video lecture of chapter number 4, National Movements of India. In the previous video lecture, we saw about the revolutionary movements of foreign countries. We also saw the active revolutionaries who took part in it. We understood about various revolutionaries who were involved in activities into foreign countries. We also saw in detail about various parties that were established during this time and the efforts that were done by the Indians who were living into foreign countries for the freedom of their country. Now we are going to study about the other topic, that is Morley-Minto reform. Morley-Minto reform. So let us start. Morley-Minto reform 1909. Now from the name you can understand it was basically a reform introduced by two people, Morley and Minto. And why it was adopted, what was the need of it. Okay, the English adopted the policy of divide and rule. The English adopted the policy of divide and rule to create enmity between Hindus and Muslims. To create enmity between Hindus and the Muslim. Now, as we already know about this, okay, this was brought by two of the leaders. Okay, Morley. He was John Morley. He was Secretary of State of India at that time. Okay, while Minto or Lord Minto was the Viceroy. He was the Viceroy of India at that time. So this was an act which was passed into the British Parliament into 1906, and basically this was a type of divide and rule policy which was introduced. Okay, now what did they say? They wanted to divide in Hindus and Muslim by giving separate seats. Okay, separate seats for elections. Okay, they wanted to give separate seats. See, under the leadership of Aga Khan, the Muslim delegation met Viceroy Minto. Okay, Aga Khan was the religious leader of Muslims. Religious leader. Okay, they met Viceroy Minto. Minto was the Indian Wazir at that time. Indian Wazir means Viceroy. At that time, the reforms are made as Morley-Minto reforms, and later on they gave seats to Muslim. They said, we know about this, that in 1906 the Muslim League was formed. Now why Muslim League was formed? It was to divide the Indian National Congress. It was to divide the Indian National Congress, and that's why Muslim League was formed in 1906. But now they wanted to divide more the Hindus and the Muslims, and that's why they introduced the Morley-Minto reforms. The impact of Morley-Minto reforms should be felt later on into the history of India. Next topic is arrival of Gandhiji, 1915. Gandhiji returned to India in 1915. We know about this. Okay, after successfully fighting against racism. Racism means color discrimination. Color discrimination which was going on in Africa. Okay, South Africa, with Satyagraha. Satyagraha we know. Okay, his political mentor, that was Guru, was Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Remember this. Okay, Gopal Krishna Gokhale was his political guru, while spiritual mentor was Srimad Raj Chandra. Spiritual leader was Srimad Raj Chandra. Okay, from whom he got inspiration to do the Satyagraha. Gandhiji travelled across India and observed the life of Indians. See, this was a advice given by Gopal Krishna Gokhale that first you travel across India, see what people are facing, what are the problems of Indian people, and what are the issues that they are facing. And later on, you can fight for the issues that are main. Okay, and that's why you observe the life of the people by traveling across India. He considered exploitation as the root of poverty. Say exploitation is taking undue advantage. Okay, taking undue advantage or harmful advantage. Okay, as a root of poverty. He said that as the people of India are exploited by the Britishers, and that's why people have remained poor in India and made plans to abolish British rule in India, and that's why he said that I will abolish the rule of Britishers into India. So remember this date, Gandhiji arrived into India in 1915. Next comes Rowlatt Act. Rowlatt Act in 1919. The British government formed the Rowlatt Act under the chairmanship of Rowlatt, the Minister of Law. See, Rowlatt was the Minister of Law of Britain at that time. This act was framed with the purpose of suppress is to put down, the revolutionaries and nationalists. What was the main reason? It was to suppress the revolutionaries and nationalists in a great way. And this act was also to control the nationalism which was going on with full fledged into India. This act came to be known as Black Act. Remember it. This act was known as Black Act because it was meant to suppress individual freedom. So individual freedom was suppressed. Here people were forced, they were arrested without any kind of reason or without any kind of support towards them. See, individual freedom and freedom of speech both were suppressed, and that's why it was known as Black Act. According to this act, any suspicious person, say what was it? Any suspicious person could be arrested and jailed without conducting any trial, means without going for any court case against him. Okay, so British Parliament gave the rights to the Britishers to arrest any person without any kind of reason, without any kind of documents, and put into jail without running a case against him. That's why Gandhiji called it Black Act. Motilal Nehru considered is a snatching away of argument, appeal, and advocacy. Motilal Nehru, who is father of Jawaharlal Nehru, said that it is like snatching away the right of argument. You cannot argue. Second, you cannot appeal, and third, you cannot advocate. Okay, so this was a very bad act as per the Indians, but it was very good for the Britishers. The British government gained immense power. See, they got a lot of powers under this act to suppress any kind of opposition. So the leaders and the people at large expressed their opposition, and that's why people and the leaders opposed it on a large scale. Meetings, rallies, shows, and strikes were organized against it. Gandhiji was arrested in Delhi. See, Gandhiji was arrested. Under that, he was provoking the people for fighting against the Britishers. When Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Kichlu were arrested in Punjab, the agitation became severe. Okay, agitation is revolt became severe. The government vehemently, even strongly, tried to suppress all the opposition that was against them. Right. So this way, the government suppressed all the opposition. Anything that was against them was suppressed by the Britishers, and due to that, this act was known as Black Act. The next topic that we are going to do is called Jallianwala Bagh. Now, Jallianwala Bagh, many of you know. Okay, Jallianwala Bagh is a great dark spot in the history of India. Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Massacre is killing of lot of people at the same time. Okay. When popular leaders like Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Kichlu were arrested in Amritsar, Punjab, a public gathering was organized in Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar on the day of Baisakhi. Okay, Baisakhi is one of the festival of the Punjabis to oppose the arrest. Okay. General Ordinal Dyer reached there with his troops. Okay, now we need to understand that Britisher had implemented the Rolex Act, and under that they had implemented 144. 144 is curfew. Okay, so people cannot gather, but still people are gathered in this particular place. Okay, why it was they were okay, basically it was a festival of Baisakhi. At the same time, they also wanted to oppose the arrest of their leaders, and that's why they had gathered there. But without any warning, General Ordinal Dyer reached there with his troop without any warning. See, open fire on the innocent people, right? From the machine guns. There were high walls on the four sides. Now, the the construction of this particular Maidan is something, ground is something like this. Okay, there is a narrow passage. It is surrounded on all sides with high walls, and there is a well in the middle. Okay, now there is only one passage, to go in and come out. This is the well. Okay, now what did General Ordinal Dyer did? He put his troop here. You can see into this photograph, right? His troop here and started firing against the people. Now people did not have a place to go. They could not run away from this place as there were high walls. You can see here there were high walls around the. Okay, so some people tried to climb it. Some people even jumped into this well, and due to that, lot of people lost their lives. Okay, many were killed by the bullets, and this was all done without giving even a warning. Okay, they were not asked or they were not told, but without any warning they were firing on the innocent people that had gathered. See, there were high walls on four sides of the Bagh. In the middle was an unused well, and the only way out being narrow, a number of people lost their lives in the firing. Okay, as I told you, the only way out was blocked by the Britishers, and due to that, lot of people died. According to government records, 379 people died. Okay, as per government records, 379 people died and 1200 injured. But as per one of the committee which was appointed by the Congress, it said that more than 1000 people had died. Right? So there is a lot of difference between the numbers of government and the Congress committee, okay, which is appointed, and they say that more than 1000 people have died in it. What was more humiliating was that Hunter Commission. It was a commission which was appointed by the British to look into this matter, okay, to investigate the case on behalf of British government, defended General Dyer. They said that General Dyer had done this unknowingly. It was a mistake. It was a silly mistake of General Dyer. Okay, and the commission forgave General Dyer, considering an say innocent mistake that happened unknowingly. See these words. Okay, see, an innocent mistake that happened unknowingly. It was an innocent mistake. Now killing of thousands of people, how can it be a innocent mistake? But he was considered innocent, right? Not only this, okay, what was more humiliating, Okay, he was considered innocent. On the other hand, when General returned to England, he was honored with a sword and 2,000 pounds at that time. Now, honoring with a sword was giving an honor. It was type of an act of bravery. When a person does something which is full of bravery, he is honored by a sword. So when General Dyer returned to England, he was honored by a sword and 2,000 pounds at that time for his commendable act in India, and that was a very tight slap on the face of India at that time. Indians got a terrible shock, see, because of this. After this Inhuman Act, Gandhiji's faith towards Britisher was completely lost. Now Gandhiji was a promoter of Britishers. He said that Britishers are civilized people, so they will understand, and that's why he would deal with them in his own way. But after this incident, Gandhiji lost his faith into the Britishers completely. This event played an important role in uniting the whole nation, but it had some positive effect also. The whole nation was united after this particular incident. This tragedy became the ground for the future non-cooperative movement. Now we know about non-cooperative, we'll learn about it in the later part. So this was the background. This sowed the seeds for the non-cooperative movement, which was supposed to happen in the few years. We'll keep till here in this video lecture.